Hi, hello you beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me today. Carmen Delport here with a very interesting topic we're going to talk about today, fear. Whether fear is quietly running your life. We're going to talk about deep subconscious fear that we have been suppressing for a very long time or just ignoring how that is ruling our lives. So welcome here. I am a multidimensional healer, a spiritual therapist, here to help you on your journey on planet Earth. Before we get going, I just want to remind you of my spiritual or awakening support community that's on Patreon with meditations and some shadow work and live calls with myself to support you. And if you feel the calling to work with me one-to-one as a therapist or a healer, a shaman, then please do book a clarity call or have a look at my website. Thank you. So fear, how unconscious fear shapes the body and how embodied healing returns power and life force back on. Okay, so fear removes what we call our life force, our enthusiasm, our passion. Okay, so fear is not a flaw. It is not a weakness. And fear is information. It holds very valuable information for us. So we want to know about it. So when we allow ourselves to acknowledge the fear, rather than suppress or ignore it, override it, something pretty profound begins to shift inside of us. Awareness brings fear out of the depths of our being and into consciousness. And it's only through consciousness that healing becomes possible. Okay? By acknowledging that we have fear and by acknowledging the fear, we create space to face it, to understand why it is in our lives. And as understanding of the fear deepens, our confidence, our way of expressing ourselves naturally grows. We become more of our true selves, more of our soul's expression. We reclaim our power, our presence, and our life force. Fear lives in the physical body, in our cells, our bones, in our organs, before the mind. And boy, do we love our mind. Fear does not begin as a thought. It begins as a sensation. Okay? You may be holding subconscious fear in your body if you struggle to feel safe. Even when nothing appears to be wrong, there's a restlessness. If the feeling of being relaxed is a distant memory, or it feels difficult or completely unfamiliar, then you hold fear in your body. If you struggle to focus, or if calm feels like it's not available to you, then fear lives in your body. Fear often manifests as restlessness, anxiety, or hypervigilance. The nervous system remains on high alert, like there's this constant activity in the nervous system, like an awareness of what's going to happen next. I need to be aware of everything. Danger is somewhere, just around the corner. Okay? Collectively, we are also living in a time of rapid change. And with that come fear. Old structures are dissolving. Deep survival fears are being activated around safety, belonging, stability, and the future. When fear operates unconsciously, we retreat into the mind, becoming disconnected from our body. And when we become disconnected from our body, like living in our head, we become disconnected from each other as well. And we then don't really see the beauty in the world. And we don't understand the cosmic intelligence that's available for us. Now, as we are in this period of rapid change in the world, it is like this collective memory of fear is being awakened. And this collective memory of fear is coming from our ancestors and our past selves. Okay? All the wars that's been, all the times we struggle to protect ourselves, look after ourselves. When fear becomes familiar, if we have grown up in an environment where fear was present, like in many countries and in many homes, okay, I work with many clients that has grown up in an environment where they were living in fear, emotionally, psychologically, or physically. Fear may become, and does become, the nervous system's baseline state. In these cases, being alert and overthink feels normal. Relaxation can feel very unfamiliar and actually very unsafe. Stillness may create discomfort. So if you struggle to be silently with yourself, by yourself, there's fear there. Not because it is dangerous, but because in the silence, the stillness is the unknown. Now, fear expresses itself differently in each person. For some, it appears as anger, irritability. For others, it's the urge to withdraw, to hide, to run. Some experience complete paralysis, collapse, while others feel confusion or emotional numbness. And also fear can drive us to be constantly busy, always doing something, because while we're doing something, we don't have to face it. So none of these responses are flaws. They are intelligent survival strategies shaped by life's experience. Fear as a protector and fear as a prison. Fear exists to protect life. In its healthy form, it alerts us to genuine danger and supports our survival. Okay, like we don't want to walk over a busy street and get run over. We don't want to stand too close to the edge of a cliff. However, prolonged fear, and this is true for so many, fear that persists long after the threat has passed, becomes damaging to our physical, our emotional, and energetic health. Chronic fear dysregulates the nervous system, it exhausts the body, and it drains our vitality. It can show up in diseases, it can show up in unhealthy relationships, it can show up as ruining your beautiful relationships. Okay, it shows up in so many different ways. An important question to ask is this fear real or is it perceived? Is it happening now or is it a memory living there in the body? When we live in fear, we are also more easily controlled and manipulated. Through fear of losing safety, fear of losing love, fear of losing pleasure, fear of losing freedom, fear of losing self-respect. Fear pulls our power away from us and places it outside of ourselves. So just hearing all the fear of losing love, safety, pleasure, freedom, self-respect. I'm pretty sure we've all been there at some point in our lives for us to refer to. Unexpressed fear comes out in repeating patterns. When we are unable to fully express the emotions we felt during an initial event, maybe we were very little, maybe we were only 6, 7 or 8 years old, those emotions, they do not disappear. They literally become stored, stuck in the body and in our energy field around us. Okay? So unprocessed fear fixates our energy into holding patterns, right? Making that energy unavailable for joy, creativity, intimacy, and growth. Now, how I see it when I'm working with a client, I literally see like an imprint in the body where the fear has blocked. And the trauma, the fear trauma has blocked that chakra, those parts of the psyche, and prevent the person from moving forward or staying that repeating pattern and staying that way of thinking. A belief gets shaped from these fears. Okay. Because this process is unconscious, we may find ourselves creating similar situations again and again, a repeating pattern. Unknowingly attempting to resolve what was never completed, which is where the vibrational match come in. We vibrationally align, we pull into our lives what we need to resolve. So that fear will keep being triggered through people, situations, events, circumstances, until we face that subconscious fear. Okay? So healing begins when fear is acknowledged, allowed to safely come up, and met with your own willingness to listen to it and to understand it, to be curious about it. As we trace the fear back to its origin through inner child healing, through shadow work, through mind reprogramming, we also do that. We recognize how it has shaped our life. And we then can, in the healing, release that. And we can reprogram that. And when fear dissolves, the energy that was tied up in that fear returns to us with life force, with new enthusiasm for life, with new ideas, with creative ideas, with inspiration and excitement, passion. We also, like I mentioned before, we have inherited fears, ancestral fears, and imposed fear. Fear often enters our nervous system through our main caregivers or any authority figures, teachers, even childminders. We're rules enforced through fear. When we will, like, if you don't do this, you will get a hiding. If you don't do this, you'll be locked in your room. And if love was conditional, if you're a good boy, if you're a good girl, you can get a hug. Where expectations place upon you that require you to abandon your own needs or values. Now that's a big one. I'm not going to get into that now, but that's a big one. Expectations that you need to let go of your own needs and values. And still in adulthood, that happens all the time in society. We just look at what's happening in the world now. Right now, we can clearly see it playing out. Whenever we are asked to act against our true nature at any age, fear is activated. Fear disconnects us from our inner authority. We have our own inner authority. Okay? Many don't realize that anymore. And teaches us that belonging requires self-betrayal. We've been raised in a society where that's the norm. To betray yourself, to belong. Okay? We really see that playing out big time. Especially during the pandemic time. In this way, fear quietly takes all our power away, everyone's power away, not just the one that's being singled out, but actually everyone. Core beliefs, the inner child and soul memory. Many of our deepest fears are rooted in core beliefs. And these core beliefs are most of the time shaped before the age of 8 or by the age of 8. These beliefs are shaped not only by what happened to us, but by how our soul experienced those moments through the body. They become energetic imprints carried in the nervous system, the emotional body, and the subtle layers of our being. Imagine the life of a little boy or girl whose parents are constantly arguing. The home feels unpredictable, voices are raised, anger moves through the space, through the doors, through the walls. Sometimes, if the child is unlucky, the anger is directed at them. For this child, fear becomes the baseline state of being. The nervous system learns that raised voices signal danger. The body learns to brace. The soul learns to keep the person alert. Okay? Now, also in these moments of fear, constantly, for a child like this, in constant fear from narcissistic parents or physical, emotional, mental abuse, the soul fragments. And when I do the healing, I see the fragmented soul pieces and we bring it back. We do the healing on the fragmented soul pieces and we bring it back, bring that life force back. If the healing, it doesn't happen as this child grows into an adult, the body does remember. So any heated discussion, someone speaking passionately or a raised voice can unconsciously trigger exactly the same fear response. Anxiety or panic comes up not because of what is happening now, but because of what happened when they were younger. The mind may say, I'm safe, but the energy body are responding to an earlier truth. This underlying fear can quietly rule your relationships, communication, and intimacy. The soul longs for connection, while the body protects the vulnerable self, building all these layers of protection around the person. The inner child work we do allows us to soften these layers we've built around you and even remove it, these imprints, the stuck memory. And we do that with compassion, with kindness, with multidimensional healing, working through the energetic layers and the Akashic records, restoring safety through mind reprogramming, and allowing the nervous system to soften with somatic work or with specific thought patterns. The many faces of fear. Fear is not a singular expression. It has many expressions, okay? And we often carry several fears at once. And normally what I do with my clients, we always go to the most relevant fear at the moment. So either you come to me with a specific fear that you want to work on, or we ask your soul to show us the fear that is preventing you from moving forward, stepping out of a pattern. Okay. Healing fear, it takes time. You know, it is not something we can do instantly. Like we can do the inner child work, we can do the mind reprogramming, the ancestral healing on it. And it depends on how deep that fear is, the initial impact of it. As we do the healing, each layer reveals itself. And when we have the capacity because these layers we move through is what we are ready for. So when we have the capacity, we can go deeper and deeper and meet the fear more and more every step of the way. So common forms of fear include fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, big one, physical harm or abuse, which is, they did a study in the 90s when 20% of the United States children were physically abused. That's a lot, and that has increased significantly, okay? Another common fear is the fear of ridicule or humiliation. The fear of loss of financial security, especially in these times we are in now. Fear of intimacy, another one that is very prevalent. Fear of trusting others. Fear of being seen. Fear of being misunderstood. Or fear of being made an example with. Yeah, they all I mean, there's just so many examples out there in the public at the moment, especially with, with the life we are living. These fears live not only in the mind, but in the body and the energy field. They shape how we speak, they shape how we love, how we create, and how we choose. Often, most of the time, without our conscious awareness. We don't have to completely eliminate fear, okay? But we want to be aware of it, and we want to meet it with our presence. Like, I am here, I'm meeting you with curiosity, and I'm observing you patiently, okay? Fear also exists as an energetic imprint in our multidimensional being, in many different layers of our being. So some imprints, as I've mentioned, originate in our lived experiences, while others are coming from our ancestors and carried over from other lifetimes, previous lifetimes, other lifetimes. Through multidimensional healing and shamanic healing, unconscious fears can be brought into awareness and released at its source. This work allows us to clear fear in the energy field, access the soul memories where vigilance once ensured survival, and release ancestral patterns that no longer serve. As these imprints dissolve, new information becomes available. New information comes available to the energetic body, the physical body, on the cellular body, and you just have these new ideas because you feel safer. The nervous system reorganizes itself around this coherence rather than being on the lookout, surviving, bracing, but being more safe. The journey of discovering and healing fear, it is beautiful, sacred work. It requires honesty, real honesty, compassion, and patience. As fear is loosening its grip, energy returns, vitality increases, creativity flows, presence deepens. And this is where faith is restored. Not as a blind belief, but as an embodied trust. Trust in the body, trust in life, trust in your own intuitive guidance, your own soul connection, and trust in what you feel, your intuition, trust in yourself. Fear disconnects us from our faith. When we heal fear, we have the faith to shine. We have the faith to go for things again, to make things happen or to allow things to happen. When we work with fear, we need to work with it with curiosity and no judgment. Okay? And I see this very often, that people judge their fear. And because of the judgment, when we do that, we can't heal it. And that judgment normally comes from societal programming or what you were told as a child. Awareness restores choice, and healing returns your power. And where fear once lived, life begins to flow again. It begins to flow again. And I truly see that in all my clients and in myself as well. We are more at ease, and quite often I hear clients and people say, but you know, I am at ease. And I can see, as a seer, I can see. And I know people by now. And then we do the healing eventually or whenever. And then they say, yes, now I feel less restricted. I feel more joy. I see and feel more beauty. I'm trusting more. So this is an invitation for you to just hold yourself in compassion and ask, where in my body am I holding fear? And just listen to it. Just listen to it. And some fears are valid. And sometimes a fear is not valid because a fear is based on what can possibly happen. But it's never going to happen. So be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, then do contact me. Look at my website, carmendelport.com. Book a clarity call with me. Not everything is on my website, but it gives you an idea. Then please do join Awakening Support Community on Patreon. And then also I have many live meditations on YouTube and on my Awakening Support Community platform. And I thank you for being here. I've got quite a few live events happening all over the place. Meditations and transmissions and live Q&As with myself. So I trust that you are well. And I'm wishing you all the bravery to face that fear that's holding you back at the moment. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.